The Boy Who Grew Dragons by Andy Shepherd. Chapter 18. Nosy Eyes. Once I'd made the decision to tell the others, I could hardly wait to share the secret. Suddenly I couldn't believe I'd kept it to myself for almost a whole week. They were going to love Flicker. But at school the next day, it was precisely 30 seconds before I realised I had a huge problem. We weren't allowed bags in the classroom, and there was no way Miss Logan would let me get away with wearing my hoodie inside. Besides, even though Flicker still fitted into my pocket, it wouldn't be much good if he started getting fidgety in there. In the end, I left him in my rucksack in the changing room. I hung it on a hook right at the back and put my PE kit in front as a feeble disguise. I stuffed some lettuce through the zip, whispered some reassuring words to the little dragon, and crossed my fingers that he'll be okay until break time. In class, I kept trying to get Ted, Kat, and Kai on their own so I could whisper the exciting news. But we'd been assigned our groups and I was stuck with the lions as they were all sat across in giraffes. There was also a problem of Liam's beady little eyes that seemed to follow me everywhere, so I couldn't check on Flicker at break. He was even loitering in the hall at lunch when usually he'd be the first outside with the football. "Meet me under the trees," I hissed to the others as I shovelled the last of my lunch and cleared my tray. "But I haven't even started my third sandwich," Ted said. "What's the rush?" asked Kat. "I've got something to show you," I whispered. "Something important." "Well, go on. Show us," Kai said. "Not here," I said. "Nosy eyes are watching." I don't think eyes can be nosy," Ted said through a mouthful of crisps. I ignored him and used some impressive eyebrow acrobatics to signal where Liam was sitting. But by the look of Kat's face, I didn't think it was working. "You're being weird again," Kai told me. "That's what I'm trying to tell you about," I said. They looked at each other, then stuffed the remains of their lunches into their boxes, apart from Ted, who just stuffed it all into his mouth. "Come on then," Kat said. "It's about time you told us what's going on." While the rest of them headed down to the end of the field, I ducked into the changing room. A quick peek inside of the rucksack showed me that Flicker was curled up and fast asleep, his little head resting on his tail. I scooped up my bag and raced down to the trees. "Well then," Kai asked, "spill the beans. What's the great secret that's had you acting all weird lately?" As I got my breath back, I noticed Ted staring at my rucksack. It was bulging, and part of it seemed to be moving about on its own accord. Thomas, what's in there?" he asked, backing away slightly. So, I told him, and of course they didn't believe me. I mean, would you? I told them the whole story from start to finish. Dramatic storyteller that I am, I didn't plan on showing them Flicker until I'd completely finished. "Right, good one," Kai laughed. "Your stories are getting better and better," said Kat, smiling. "You should write that one down. Miss Logan would love it." "But seriously, Thomas, what's really going on?" Here was my big moment. I paused, savouring the deliciousness of knowing that any second I was going to see that look on their faces. That look that said, "I just cannot believe what my eyes are showing me. And wow, Thomas, you're like the coolest human on earth." I opened my rucksack and reached in. All three of them leaned towards me. But just as they were about to finally see Flicker for themselves, a voice said, "What have you got there?" We all span round, and you guessed it, it was Liam, and his beady eyes were fixed on my rucksack. "Nothing," I said quickly, gently keeping hold of Flicker and hoping that he would sense danger and keep perfectly still. He didn't. He actually sneezed and let out a spark that was red hot on my fingers. I winced but forced myself to laugh it off. Kat, Kai and Ted were looking bemused. I'd have to fill them in later. I turned and hurried back to the field. All I knew was that I had to get Flicker away from Liam's prying eyes. But the little dragon had obviously had enough of being cooped up and was now struggling to get free. My rucksack lurched from side to side as he wriggled desperately inside. I clamped my hands over the moving bulge, trying to ignore the strange looks that some of my classmates were giving me as I hurried past them. All I could hope was that he hadn't done a poo in there, and if he did, it was about to explode. Chapter 19 is called Coffee Surprise. I hope you enjoyed that chapter. I cannot wait to see his friend's response when he finally gets to show them Flickr. I hope you're all okay, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all soon. See you later on.